Pixel 9 Pro versus the iPhone 16 Pro. We are in, I think, uncharted territory when it comes to these phones for a couple of different reasons. And I think that, well, quite frankly, Google makes a more compelling argument than ever for their Pixel phone. And I think that the iPhone makes maybe less of a compelling argument because when you take a look at the iPhone, and I'm just going to get this out of the way, same old, same old, same old, right? The phone looks the same. There's no real changes over the last couple of years. They added the camera control, whatever. And then you've got the other folks saying, oh, well, Google copied the Google copied Apple with their phone. So, and which, I mean, yeah, it looks kind of the same. When you take a look at these phones from the back, other than the camera modules, you got the flat sides, rounded corners, flat back, flat screen, all this stuff. They're very, very similar in that regard. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, who cares? They look good, but it's more than just looking good. And there's one other thing I want to talk about that nobody is really talking about this. So the iPhone 16 Pro series, iPhone 16s are incomplete phones because Apple Intelligence is not here yet. And that was painfully obvious when I was watching the Texans game yesterday. Other than that was really painful. That horrible game. They played like garbage. But during the game, there was like 8 million different commercials that I saw for Apple Intelligence. They were saying, oh, you can do this with Apple Intelligence, the iPhone 16. The first Apple Intelligence features aren't even going to be available until October when we get iOS 18.1. And then we're still have to wait till December for more features. And Apple Intelligence won't be fully deployed on the iPhone 16 series phones until next year. So they're already like 2 years behind Google in the intelligence AI department, and they're advertising all this stuff that you can't even use yet on the phone. So anyway, there's that. But then the Pixel 9 series phones are also incomplete. And nobody really talks about this either, because what is the Pixel 9 missing? Well, it's missing all of Android 15, which will also be available here in October. And we'll see what new features we get with that. But it was very lackluster in their keynote speech as well, because they just completely glossed over Android 15. There really weren't a whole lot of new AI features that were added onto it. So, but at least there's AI, right? But the good thing is the phones both run really, really well. I mean, the iPhone 16 Pro runs great on iOS 18. I like iOS 18. It's been very nice, been very enjoyable. New features, RCS support, so you can better communicate with your Android friends. And you can move around the icons where you want. You also get some different colors and stuff, you customization. So yeah, iOS 18 is pretty good. Android 14 is very polished. Like Android 14, very, very polished on the Pixel 9 series phone. So there's that as well. But overall, when I say uncharted territory, it's not just because of those things, like two incomplete phones at launch, but Pixel, I think, makes the best argument ever if you want to leave the iPhone for a Pixel phone. And the Pixel phone's nice. And when you take a look at both of these phones, they both have a 6.3-inch screen and beautiful 6.3-inch screen, but the Pixel actually has, I think, a much better screen than the iPhone. So the iPhone 2000 its brightness, 6.3-inch screen, 3000 its brightness on the Pixel 9 Pro. That's really nice. Both have 120 hertz refresh rate, so you get the upgraded ceramic shield over here on the iPhone, which is supposed to be 50% better than the previous ceramic shield, IP68, wireless charging, all that great stuff. I mean, it's got everything you would expect in an iPhone, and then you get IP68 over here, you get Gorilla Glass Victus 2, so it doesn't have Gorilla Glass Victus armor, which I kind of wish that it did, but I think that's kind of like an exclusive thing they're doing with Samsung. But anyway, Gorilla Glass Victus 2, ceramic shield, whatever, it's all the same crap. They protect your phone, but you're still going to get micro abrasions if you don't have a case on it. And you can get, your Google Care, your Apple Care. Both of them are supported for like 7 years. How Google's policy is 7 years, 7 years of operating system updates, 7 years of security patches, and the iPhone is basically about that. I mean, shoot, the iPhone XS and XR just got iOS 18. But there is something that's interestingly not being supported is when you take a look at Apple Intelligence, not being retroacted. Only the 15 Pro and Pro Max are going to get the Apple Intelligence features. So if you got an iPhone 15, iPhone 14, iPhone 14 Pro, 13 Pro, obsolete in the Apple Intelligence Series 2.0 world. And that's going to be something I think that really irks people and rubs people the wrong way, except for I really don't think a lot of people care about AI that much. Most people I've talked to are like, oh, hey, your iPhone 14 Pro, not going to get Apple Intelligence. And they're like, I don't really care. Like, I don't care about AI. So I think Apple's really going to have to make some moves and make people actually care about AI for it to actually matter with this whole Apple Intelligence thing. And then you have the whole Gemini over here with Gemini Advanced. You get a whole year of Gemini Advanced, but you got to pay for it. Like you get Gemini Advanced for a year, which is cool. You can do all that stuff, and we're eventually going to have the Chat GPT integration with some of the stuff with Apple Intelligence. But yeah, Apple Intelligence is free. They don't charge you for it, but Google Gemini Advanced you get free for a year if you buy the phone, but then you have to pay $20 a month for it after that. So we're going to come to a head here in about a year. In about a year, because the same thing with the Samsung phones. If you take a look at the Galaxy AI and the S24 series phones, and what was glossed over with that, because it's like, oh yeah, you get these AI features free until the end of 2025. So once we get to 2026, presumably you're going to be paying for that on the Samsung phone. When you look at the Google phones, presumably after the Gemini Advance is gone, you're going to be paying for that in basically close to 2020 and 2025 at the end of that. Apple Intelligence, I'm sure they're going to find some way to monetize it at some point, but at this point, they're saying their features are going to be free. So yeah, if you do care about AI, which features are going to be free at that point? But anyway, so Google's made a big statement with this phone, though. We got fantastic cameras on both of these phones, but Google definitely upgraded their phones more, but both of them have an upgraded ultra wide. So you get better HDR with night sight. You get better HDR over here, so you get better macro camera capability as well. So you get better macro capability, better ultra wide. The same primary camera over here, basically. They're calling it the new 48 megapixel fusion camera. I think it's about the same, but you do have like the color tone controls in your photo shots now, which is nice. And you have the camera control button over here on the side. 4K 160, 4K 120, which is something the Pixel doesn't do. Like you can do slow-mo. You can do really cool slow-mo 4K 120 with the Pixel 6 Pro series phones, but then you get 8K video with video boost over here. So you get the Google, like their smart features, and you get video boost, right? So video boost is cool. You can upload that and you can get basically an 8K version of your video, which is going to be better than 4K, right? So you get some stuff on both sides, but one glaring thing to me as I've used the phone, like the selfie camera on the Pixel 6, on the 16 Pro, that Pixel 16 Pro, there's so many numbers. The selfie camera on the iPhone 16 Pro is the same as last year. Like there's no change. And then we have this new 42 megapixel camera selfie on the Pixel 9 Pro, and I love it. It's, I think, significantly upgraded. I think not enough people are talking about it. It's majorly increased the video quality. So video quality, stability, quality, all that stuff on the Pixel 9 Pro when it comes to the selfie has majorly improved, and it's better than I think the iPhone. And then I think it's a toss-up. When you look at the cameras on the back of these, a major big camera module here, you got the temperature sensor, which nobody ever talks about because it's mostly useless. But hey, that's something you don't get with the iPhone. But aesthetically wise, I mean, you got a 4,700 milliamp battery. Both of them have like just about 30 watt charging. Both of them have slow charging, right? Slow charging, slow charging. They both have stereo speakers, which are both pretty good. I think the iPhone speakers maybe might be a little bit better, but overall the speakers on both are great. And then if you take a look at the ecosphere stuff now, like the iPhone, of course, you got the MacBooks, you got the iPads, the Apple Watches, all that stuff. Google, I mean, you got the Google Pixel tablet, but largely I think it sucks. And you have the Pixel Buds Pro 2, which are good. I haven't tested them out yet, but everything I've heard about them are good. You've got, of course, the new AirPods 4, AirPods Pro 2, AirPods Max. It's not really a second generation. It's just a USB-C version. When it comes to the watch, everybody seems to be happy with the Google Pixel Watch 3, Watch 3 XL. I'm not a big fan of the Pixel Watch. I haven't bought it. I don't really cover a lot of wearable stuff here. The jury's still out on that one. I've got my Pixel Watch 2. Like, I don't even use it. Battery last is not good on it, and I like the Galaxy Watch Ultra. So it's kind of like, okay, there's a lot better ecosphere, I think, when you look at Apple. So there's that stuff. But a lot of times when you take a look at the Pixel phones, people are like, oh, it doesn't look as nice, it doesn't feel as nice, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. Like when you take a look at them side by side, they're both beautifully nice, well-made phones. And they have the same size screen now, 6.3 inches, so identical screen. You get the little peephole camera here versus the dynamic island over here. So you actually have a little more screen real estate here. But people are like, oh, the bezels on the Pixel phone suck. Well, they fixed it. Like the bezel's very, very small in here now. They're not as small as the iPhone, but they're basically negligible when you look at them with your eyes. Like I can't really tell the difference when looking at them. So yeah, the screen, and I think the screen on the Pixel is better. Like we have the same iPhone screen as last year. The Pixel screen over here, 3000 nits brightness, the super actual display, like it's impressive. You get better haptics on the Pixel, like the haptics throughout the system and typing are way better on the Pixel than I think on the iPhone. And then when you look at RAM, I know a lot of people are like, oh, the iPhone has better hardware, it's got a better chip. Well, the Google Pixel Pro 9 Pro has 16 gigs of RAM versus the 8 gigs of RAM in here. And that's going to have implications moving forward, because one of the big reasons why the previous iPhones aren't able to use Apple Intelligence is because all this AI and these large language models need more AI. They need more RAM. They need at least 8 gigs. And the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max have 8 gigs. They're the first iPhones that did, and that's one of the reasons why they can do it. But then you take a look at what is that implication moving forward? They still only put 8 gigabytes of RAM in the new Pro models. They didn't go to 12, they didn't go to 16, they went to 8. So I think in another year or two, we're still going to have limitations that Apple has to be doing this as some sort of a marketing ploy, because there's no reason they couldn't put 12 in there at least and kept the price the same. The price of RAM is basically non-existent, negligible for these companies, especially with their profit margins and price points. So yeah, I think the 8 gigs is going to come back and bite them in the butt. It'd be like 2 years like, oh, you got to upgrade again. It doesn't have enough. Just like all the other iPhones that we're at right now. I think we're gonna hit this juncture again. And then the Pixel 9 Pro, 16 gigs with at least 3 gigs of dedicated RAM specifically on the side for AI stuff. So if AI is the future, I'd rather have 16 gigs than 8 gigs. But then you got the A18 Bionic, which is nice. I mean, it's a good chip. It seems to fix the heat issues. It seems to fix the battery problems. It seems to fix the like the cell connection stuff I was having. That's good. But then we have the same thing over here. The Tensor G4, it's fixed the battery issues. It's got a vapor chamber now, which is amazing. Vapor chamber in a Pixel, that's great. So it's fixed the signal problems. It's fixed the battery problems. It's fixed the heat problems. So coming from previous Pixel phones and coming from the last iPhone, it seems like no more heat issues, battery is better, and the signal is better. So I'm happy about that across the board. But I know some people are like, oh, the Tensor 4 it's a mid-tier chip. It's 3 years old. Look, it's a new chip with the new modem, with the Tensor core in it, the TPU, the Tensor processing unit. It's got the Titan security chip. It's the only Android phones other than the Pixel 8 series that you can use your facial recognition scanning with your banking apps, because it's a high enough level of security because of the security that's built into the Tensor chip, and also ultrasonic fingerprint scanner under the screen, no fingerprint scanner. And they missed a huge opportunity, I think, because with this camera control on the side, which everybody's complaining about all over the internet, like it sucks, it's inconvenient, it's in a bad spot, it's janky, like whatever. I don't care. I really don't have much of a dog in that fight. I'm glad they added the feature. It's cool. It's something new. We complain Apple doesn't add new things, so thank you for adding that, Apple. That's nice. But at the end of the day, yeah, most people seem to think that just using the touch controls on the screen are still more accurate and better. So there's that. But they missed a great opportunity, because they could have put a fingerprint scanner in there. They could have brought Touch ID back, and it's at a good spot, I think, too, right at the bottom of the phone. It could have worked out. Maybe they can like add that on later. That would be amazing. But anyway, so yeah, you've got that. You've got the action button over on the side. The Google Pixel doesn't have that. So I kind of wish it did, because I love the action button on the iPhone 15 Pro series and now on the 16 Pro series. But yeah, you're going to get people that are like, oh, the Tensor is not as good because of the benchmarks. Okay, well, who cares about benchmarks? It's a 3.15 gigahertz chip. You're never going to do anything that the benchmarks are doing on these phones, because it's designed to push the phone to its absolute limits, which nobody does, by the way. So it can shoot 4K video, 4K 60 frames per second. You can do your top tier gaming. The iPhone is better for gaming, though. I mean, it has some. They advertise console level gaming, which nobody's really looking for a console level gaming experience on a phone. They just want cool, unique games on the phone, which is kind of, I think, missing the point in a lot of ways. But hey, you can play Resident Evil 4 Remake or Alien Isolation, which are both amazing games, by the way. But yeah, you can play Genshin Impact, PUBG, Warzone, all that stuff on the Pixel, it's maybe it's 95% of the experience of the iPhone, but we're at such a point now where both of these phones, they're very, very powerful, very, very capable, and they do everything they're designed to do. And the Google Pixel phone, even with its Tensor 4, even though it's not as powerful as the A18, it's actually more powerful and capable of processing more AI stuff. So it's like, okay, what do you want? Okay. If you're saying the iPhone 16 is so cool because it's got Apple Intelligence, it doesn't have it yet. This phone has more AI and it can process and handle it better than this phone, even though this phone has a faster processor. But wait, this phone has less RAM than this RAM. This one has less of a selfie camera than this one. This one has less of a screen than this one. Like, so when you get into all of it, what are you going to nitpick over, right? So if you've been looking to move ever from like an iPhone to a Pixel, I think that's why I said uncharted territory. You're in a better position than ever. I have been way more impressed with this phone than I have been with this phone. But if you like the iPhone, you're probably going to like this one. It'll be great. It'll meet your needs. It'll do what you want it to do. You can feel happy with your iPhone. I'm not trying to put down iPhone people. I'm just saying, if you like iPhones and you don't want to leave, you're going to be happy if you're in an upgrade cycle for the new iPhone. But I think if you are a Pixel fan, or if you've been looking to move from Apple, if you've been looking to move from Samsung, if you want a good compelling argument and a good phone, this is it. The Pixel 9 Pro, the Pixel 9 Pro XL are the best that Pixel has ever made. It feels super premium. When you look at it and compare apples to Pixels, there's so much stuff on this side that makes so much sense and is even better in many cases than what Apple is bringing to the table, and I think will make you very happy. But the ultimate thing is, you're not losing. You can't lose because both of these phones are so good, so powerful, so supported, so capable. You can't lose. Like, they're both really, really, really good phones. It just depends on what you like and what you like better and what you want to use your phone for. But what's also nice too is with the RCS support, you can finally use this phone and communicate with this phone. So if you were like, oh, I can't leave Apple because I can't do group chats, or I won't have read receipts or any of that stuff anymore, you can do that with the Pixel now because iOS 18 now has RCS support. So anyway, that's all I got in this video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, gripes, complaints, whatever's, go to the comment section. But I wanted to talk about it because it's interesting times. I mean, I know we complain, oh, there's not really that big of an upgrade from last year, but the Pixel 9 Pro series has some significant upgrades, I think, from last year. And it's more competitive than ever because when these guys start slacking off and lagging behind and these guys start upping their game, it's starting to create some really good competition and some really good options and alternatives. And that's what we like as consumers, right? So that's all I got. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.